Mediocrity is once again alive and well in this rebranded and frankly way better version of the Mediocre Men podcast. If you listen to the pre-pubescent podcast during 2020, that coronavirus pandemic, myself and Anthony, then you may remember us for our original terrible sports takes. But now we've rebranded and we've added some new talent while still keeping the same mediocre sports knowledge. Owen and Tino will now be joining the Mediocre Men for this rebrand, but we're going to kick it off. We're going to go right to Anthony. Anthony, welcome back to the Mediocre Men. How are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What are we thinking here?
It's good to be back. I'm very excited to add these two new people into it and just excited to see what happens.
Well, let's introduce them now. Owen, Santino, welcome to the Mediocre Men. Owen's been a part of it for a year.
How we doing?
It's fine. Yep. I was talking, but that's okay, Owen. You've been a part of it for a year.
I mean, what we're here for. We're mediocre.
We're mediocre.
We're mediocre. So it fits the brand. What we're here for.
Yeah, Ben, I'm super excited for this new endeavor that we're taking now, the Mediocre Men. It's going to be a phenomenal time. I'm looking forward to all the topics that we have and just talking about sports and just being a mediocre man in this world, you know?
Well, we'll kick it right off with a few sports. I think it's good for everyone to get to know each other. Let the fans, specifically the lots of fans we have out there, know our favorite sports teams, what we're interested in. Let's go to Tino. Tino, favorite sports teams. They're probably weird.
Yeah, so I'm a huge basketball fan. Football, basketball are my two main sports. I am a Packers fan for football, a Yankees and Rangers fan for hockey and baseball. I'm from New York, so I'm hometown for those two. Yeah, Anthony doesn't like that. Obviously, you can see by his hat there. But I would say for basketball, I am a LeBron James fan. So I root for whatever team LeBron James is on. I'm kind of a dick rider, bandwagon, whatever term you want to use. I was a Cavs fan, then a Heat fan, then a Cavs fan again. Now I'm a Laker fan currently up until the point when he might leave. But those are my teams, Ben. What about you?
Well, I actually want to stick on the theme of meat riding and go to Owen Anderson on the other end. So I hear it's got a great football team that he's a fan of.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so right here, I'm a Buccaneers fan, but I'm also a Bengals fan, and I'm also a Broncos fan. 3 Bs, you know. So I mean,
okay.
I rep the red because Tom Brady. But I didn't always start out as a Tom Brady fan. I was once a Peyton Manning fan. Before that, a Wes Welker fan. So I've been jumping from teams to teams. I'm a bandwagon.
Yes, you are.
I'm a meat rider aficionado, if you want to call it that. I grew up watching baseball, though. I love the Red Sox. Not a big hockey fan, not a big basketball fan. So hopefully the other guys will pick up the slack for me in that case. But yeah, I like football, I like baseball, and I like golf. So those 3 are perfect. So I don't know who's next. Ben, Anthony, what do you have to say?
Anthony, you go for it.
All right, yeah. So I'm mainly a hockey fan, of course, but I love all Boston sports, except I absolutely hate the New England Patriots with all my heart, especially Tom Brady. I will admit he is the GOAT, but I absolutely hate Tom Brady. So, yeah, for football, I'm a big Steelers fan, but yeah, mostly just Boston.
So this is weird. Well, there's 5 Boston teams, so I'm a Revolution fan. That's probably the big one. Man.
Can you enlighten anybody who doesn't, because probably a lot of people don't know what the New England Revolution are. So
there's 5 New England teams. There's not 4. There's actually 6. And
Ben, tell me, how many teams in New England? How many wins the New England Revolution have?
That's the 6th New England team now. So they got to figure it out how to include them. Rhode Island FC.
Okay.
So I would say the Revs. And then Celtics, obviously, that's a big one. And then the Ravens. That's my football team.
So stupid.
And the greatest player of all time. Tino's going to ask me right now if I can name 5 players. And I actually can. And all I need to know is Justin Tucker is the kicker, and that's about it.
I like it.
What about baseball or hockey? Nothing there?
No. I watched who the Rangers played this is why we're mediocre. Who they play? The
Panthers.
Yeah. I didn't get
They're playing the Panthers.
I didn't get it. I watched
mediocre Quinnipiac. I watched for mediocre man.
Yeah. I watched Quinnipiac hockey, but that's about it. I don't get the NHL. PWHL. I'm a PWHL Boston fan. They have a good team.
Do you know where they are in the playoffs right now?
Well, they're going through. They're in the conference finals.
Yeah, they just finished winning.
That's because a few key alum play there. Lexi Agia, she posted about it the other day, actually. Did see that.
Oh, she went to Quinnipiac?
Ben.
Yeah.
You did mention Quinnipiac, though. So in terms of like how all of us know each other, I know, Ben, obviously you and I met at Quinnipiac, going to hockey games, watching hockey games. They won the national title last season. But how do all four of us know each other? Kind of like tie this knot up for people who don't know.
I'll tie a beautiful ribbon on this one. We'll start from the beginning. It was freshman year of high school. I was on a trip to Disney World with the chorus because I was singing in my high school, my all boys high school in Rhode Island. And we were going through the parks, and then it was the last day, and we were at Animal Kingdom. And you know how they have that ride, like Expedition Everest? So,
yeah.
So we all
not even a ride anymore.
Yeah, what?
Not even a ride anymore. They got rid of it.
Oh, it's still there.
Is it? I thought they got rid of it.
No, they got rid of the Splash Mountain.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, we all went through the single rider line because we didn't want to wait. And then we get there, and they're actually like, well, there was no wait, so you can sit with whoever you want. So everyone around us is picking people to sit with, and of course I'm left out alone. So I turn around, and this kid runs out, and he's like, "I'll go with Ben," and I'm like, "Sure." So we sit there, and there's a picture of it somewhere, but I don't like roller coasters, so I was freaking out a little bit, guys. And then get off the ride, and this kid's like, "Oh, you're pretty cool." So then we go back to the airport. We're leaving that day. We get Chipotle together. That was Anthony. Turns out, so what are we at? 8 years now? 8 years later.
Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, we started the Mediocre Men podcast our senior year of high school. During COVID, we'd play Fortnite and NBA 2K, and we would have people join the live stream. Like we'd live stream on what was it? MixLR? No.
Yeah, it was Mixer. It was Mixer.
Mixer, yeah. So we'd stream for 8 hours a day, and we get kids to come onto the stream, and we'd say, "Hey, follow our YouTube channel." So the YouTube still exists. That's where this is, obviously. But we got 57 people to join the YouTube, and then
hoping to grow that.
Yeah, we're gonna grow. So subscribe.
57 strong and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that summer, we were looking for summer jobs, and I applied to this place called Scarborough State Beach as a park ranger 1. And so I drove down for my interview, and I was going to my first day of school, and I was sitting in my beach house driveway, and I said, "Anthony, where are you going to apply for this?" He was on the way to his interview. I'm burping a lot. Oh my God. So we got the job. We start working there. And then there's this kid, and we're like, this kid's weird. Like, he won't talk to anyone.
He sucks.
He isolates himself with only a few people. He just seems like a real asshole. And then towards the end of the summer, he finally spoke to me and Anthony and gave us some recognition. And we took him golfing. I'll never forget. There's this video out there when I went back to school, and this kid, I don't know who he thought he was, but he's dressed in all orange like Ricky Fowler. And
at Goddard Park.
Yeah, Goddard Park, a local course. That was Owen. And so then 4 years later,
that's me.
There's Owen. So we wanted to rebrand the Mediocre Men last year. So without actually making anything, we inducted Owen in. And then where Tino comes into all this is me and Santino met in broadcast news writing. I think was the actual the time we first started talking. We sat next to each other. And I think our first conversation was the kid behind us, our professor, noticed people were on their laptops during class, and he turned around as he's walking past the kid behind us, and he's watching a video of a polar bear mauling like a penguin or something, during class.
What?
And so me and Tino were talking about that, and then we started becoming friends, and then Anthony and Owen came to visit me, and that's when they met Tino, and then boom, the Mediocre Men was rebranded, and that's
born.
So I'm going to take a cup of water.
A lot of it started between me and Tino because we have disagreements about who the GOAT is in basketball.
Oh, yeah, dude. I remember Anthony would come up, and I remember we would just be hanging out in the dorm room, and we would get into screaming matches of just being like, "No, that's bull." It was just back and forth constantly.
That podcast will happen one day.
Me and little spin off of the Mediocre Men, just Tino and Anthony going at it. But yeah, that's basically how we all know each other. And now, transitioning into some sadder news, Bill Walton, NBA legend, NBA Hall of Famer, passed away 2 days ago after a long battle with cancer. And just to kind of talk about not just the player that he was, but the person, listing some of his accolades. Played for Coach John Wooden at UCLA, won 3 consecutive National College Player of the Years, and from 1972 to 74, while leading UCLA to NCAA championships in 72 and 73. So one of the most dominant collegiate basketball players we've ever seen with what he did at UCLA, and then was the number 1 overall pick in the NBA in 1974 to the Portland Trail Blazers. 3 seasons later in 1977, ended up winning the NBA championship with the Blazers, giving them their first and only ever NBA title. He earned the NBA's Finals Most Valuable Player award, and then he won the MVP in 1978, just a season later. And injuries were a large part of Bill's career. He dealt with constant nagging foot injuries that I believe caused him to miss 4 seasons throughout his career, but ended up going down to Boston, went to the Clippers for a little bit, didn't have much success there, went down to Boston and became just he's one of the only 2 players ever to win an MVP and a 6th Man of the Year, was able to kind of transition from that superstar role that he was in Portland, came down to Boston and was able to transition into that bench role, still have a major impact, win a championship with the Celtics in 85 and 86, finished his career averaging over 13 points a game and 10.5 rebounds, average a double-double in his career, played from 74 to 1986-87. He missed the final year of his career due to injury, as I mentioned. And then after that, went on to broadcast. I think he's probably most well known for, at least in my opinion, for his broadcasting for college basketball with the Pac-12 games. A bunch of iconic moments that he's had, between eating a cupcake with the candle being lit, rubbing dirt on his face, just like saying the most random stuff. Like when the Oregon Ducks were playing, at one point he was on the broadcast going quack, quack, like just all that random shit that he used to do. That's really why we truly love Bill Walton, not just for the player that he was, but for the person that he was off the court and for the wacky and wild personality that he brought to the game and to everything that he did, which included broadcasting, obviously, after his career ended. So Bill Walton will definitely be missed. A lot of players expressed their condolences and their best memories on Twitter, or on X, and Instagram and all over social media. So Bill Walton, again, he will be missed very much so. It was sad to hear about his passing a couple days ago. But Ben, I think it's time for our first break of the show before we get into some more basketball and even some golf topics going forward.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this quick, not commercial break, because we don't get commercials because we're not being paid for this. Welcome back to the Mediocre Men podcast. We're going to switch to the NBA, where the Boston Celtics are heading to the NBA Finals after sweeping the Indiana Pacers last night at the time of recording this. Now, the Timberwolves on the other side are down 3-1 against the Dallas Mavericks, although that series might be wrapped up before this podcast is finished. But there's a lot of debate out there over, is this the greatest Celtics starting 5 of all time, if healthy? Let me just rephrase that, if they are healthy. So it'd be Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis. There's been a lot of debate over the Xbox channels on this one, but we're going to start with Tino. Is this the greatest Celtics starting 5, if healthy? That's the key word.
All right, so you guys know, and the fans don't know yet, but like anybody who's listening, I tend to have a little bit of a difference when it comes to, we're talking about greatest versus best or most talented. Like when you're talking about Drew Holiday, the best defensive guard in the NBA right now in terms of his on-ball defense as well as his off-ball defense. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, arguably the best dynamic duo right now in the NBA. Porzingis is a 7'2", 7'3" monster that can stretch the floor, shoot. And then you have Derek White, who, again, he was all defensive second team with Drew Holiday this year. He's probably one of the most underrated players in the NBA. But when I think about greatest Celtics all-time starting lineups, I find it so tough to overlook the 1985-86 Celtics team. We talked about it when Bill Walton won. You're talking about Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish in the starting 5. To me, I don't think this team beats that, because again, we're talking about currently as of right now. This Celtics team hasn't won the championship yet, and personally, I don't think they will. I think whoever comes out of the West is going to beat them, but they haven't won a title yet. They've made it to 6 out of the last 8 conference finals. I know this starting lineup particularly hasn't, but when the Celtics haven't had the success with that core of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they haven't had success in terms of winning a title yet. that 85-86 team, that starting five, they won the title. 07-08, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Rondo, Paul Pierce, they went and they got that title done. Kendrick Perkins was the center on that team. I find it hard to say right now this is the greatest Celtics starting five ever when you have those two historic playoff runs in those 2 years with those two teams. You have Hall of Famers on those lineups. You have NBA legends on those lineups. I just think it has to be one of those two. Take your pick. It's splitting hairs, 85-86, 07-08. It's not 2024. That's my take right now.
Can I interject really quickly before Anthony goes? Tino, Let me ask you a question. How many 3-pointers did Robert Parrish make in his career?
I don't know, like 10, maybe, if that. But what does that have to do with anything? We're talking about greatest starting five.
No. But how many did he make?
I don't know off the top of my head. 0?
He made 0.
That makes sense. Really? He wasn't a shooter. Okay, he wasn't a shooter.
I think I'll let Anthony go, but there needs to be a spread of scoring, and this Celtics team is probably the greatest 1 to 5 scoring team in pretty close to NBA history. Go. I'm sorry.
I could agree more with Tino. Tino, I think you're 100% right about the 1985-1986 Celtics team.
Yeah.
But I will say that I just looked this up. They have the exact same record in the regular season. So I will agree with Ben if they win the championship this year. The team they have this year are a lot more dynamic than the 1985-1986 team. Just how Ben said, a lot more shooters, a lot more defense.
But that also plays a part in the fact of what today's game is like, though. That's part of that's also, it's tough to compare this because it's eras, it's different styles of play. And you're saying Parrish offensively. Ben, the dude averaged 20 points per game in the 81-82 season. And in their championship year, he averaged 16 points and 9.5 rebounds. He wasn't shooting threes, but he could score. He was a career 14.5 point per game scorer.
But okay. This is my only counterpoint because I kind of agree, but I kind of don't. But if you're looking at it, so from 1 to 4, you have to respect them as shooters, right? Parrish, he's not going to take a 3, so you can defend him a little bit differently. With this Celtics lineup, they are so much more difficult this year than in past years than they've ever been because they have Porzingis in there. But you have to respect as a shooter, and you have to defend him a lot differently than you normally would.
I think talent-wise that this team this year is way more talented than the 1985-1986 team.
But again, that's talent-wise, though. But we're talking about the greatest Celtics starting five of all time. To me, it's hard-pressed for me to say that this team deserves to be over a team with Parrish, Bird, McHale, Johnson, and Danny Ainge, full of Hall of Famers all across the board. And I know we're not talking about the bench. Bill Walton, 6th man of the year, was on that squad. The Boston Celtics that season, to me, go down in history as the greatest one. If Boston can win the finals this year, there's a discussion to be had. To me, right now, no discussion. Also, let's not forget to mention that if we're talking about greatest starting five of all time, let's look at what they had to do in the playoffs. Boston.
No, absolutely not.
What?
You can't because you can't. This is now going to get fired. You can't say, oh, they had an easy path. That is not.
It doesn't matter though. They're 12-2 in the playoffs.
Are you telling me that
They're
Julius Randle getting hurt is the Celtics' fault?
No, but not Julius Randle. Miami, no Jimmy Butler. Cleveland, no Donovan Mitchell for half the series, no Jared Allen. Indiana, Halliburton was out for 2 games. All I'm saying is they have gotten to face every team at least in 2 games without their best player.
Does that have an impact? That's not their fault.
Okay. So let's just frame it. If LeBron had to play the Pistons in the first round, you are still going to say that he made a miraculous playoff run when they swept the Pistons in 4 games. It is not his fault. It is not their fault that they were the number 1 seed, so they had an easier path. It is not their fault.
Also, they're 12-2 in the playoffs. You can't beat that.
That's fair. I mean, I will say, you're talking about like defending the Celtics team. Robert Parrish is the all-time leader in blocks in Celtics history, and I understand Porzingis would be able to stretch the floor with Robert Parrish, but I think that Parrish would have the ability to be able to guard Porzingis on the perimeter, and he could switch in the pick and roll game. I think Parrish would have that ability. Also, offensive rebounding, Parrish 3,450 offensive rebounds. The second chance opportunities he would create for a guy like Larry Bird, who is an underrated playmaker. He was really the first point forward that we had in the NBA. He was doing stuff that nobody was doing in the 80s and the late 70s.
I got a hot take. I have a hot take. As much as I do not like Jason Tatum and I like Jaylen Brown way more, I think if Jason Tatum wins this year and one more time, I think Jason Tatum will go down as the greatest Celtic of all time.
Wow. You can't say that yet, though. I don't
if he wins 2 championships. What does Larry Bird have? 3?
No, yes. I believe it's 2. I think I'll check off the top of my head. I believe it is 2.
How many does Bill Russell have?
He has
11.
13, 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has 11.
I don't.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't. Sorry, Ben. You go.
Well, no. I think I'll take a page on Tino's notebook. I don't think he will, because if he wins this year, there's going to be people out there like Tino who said, "Oh yeah, an easy run to the finals, so it doesn't matter about this year."
Bird. All right. So Bird won 3 titles. He won in 81, 84, and 86. And mind you, a lot of those finals against Magic Johnson, he was able to defeat him as a rival. And I think the lore of that Celtics-Lakers rivalry in the 80s is part of what's gonna keep people coming back to Larry Bird. And I just think Bird was a better overall player. I think that Bird, when you talk about his defense, again, if you go back and watch Larry Bird highlights, he is the most underrated NBA legend ever, because this guy was doing stuff that like players do now and we think is insane, but he was doing it in the 70s and the 80s when nobody had even like heard of, like, had never seen any of this stuff. Behind the back passes, full court split in the defense. Like, Bird was making incredible plays that will be on highlight reels all over the country nowadays. Bird was an enigma for his time, and I think that as great as Jason Tatum is going to go down as in his career, I couldn't say he's better than Larry Bird. I mean, we'll see how the cards play out and how it stacks up against them once he's done with his career, but I'd say it's still going to be Larry Bird in my opinion.
Can you name the starting 5 of that 1985-1986 team off the top of your head?
Well, we were just talking about it. Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, McHale, Bird, and Robert Parrish.
Okay, I didn't know if you could name them all. Okay, because you could definitely name the 2024 Celtics. Like, people that don't watch basketball more, I bet they can name this year's team better than the 1985-1986 team.
I think that's just with being one in this year. Like, if you go back and if you go back, I think it's recency bias. That's what I would say.
That's true.
But
that is part of it as well. But Ben, I know we got more topics to get to, so we'll move on from this.
Yeah, Owen's been a little quiet over there. He's been a little sad. So we're gonna get to something that Owen actually wants to talk about, because we are the mediocre men, and sometimes we have a mediocre knowledge of the sport. But now we're gonna move to golf, probably NBA players' favorite sport. Probably Jokic. God, I think basketball is his least favorite sport. But
definitely,
we're all big golfers here, except Santino. And I posed the question earlier this week, and I'd love to hear everyone's answers. The ultimate golf foursome. Now, this can be any athlete, or I would even throw in TV personality, because I think a lot of people would say Charles Barkley. But any athlete or TV personality that you'd want to play 18 holes with at, let's say, Owen, you got a Pinehurst hat on. Let's say at Pinehurst. Who would you want to bring there in a few
Question,
weeks?
Can they be alive, or can
They can be dead.
Okay.
Yeah, they can be dead.
Okay.
So we're talking Pinehurst number 2, right?
This year's U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open course? Okay. So I didn't make a list beforehand because I wanted this to be raw, and like coming right out as I think of it.
Let it flow.
So my initial thought, my first pick, like undoubtedly, is Phil Mickelson. Favorite golfer of all time. Love Phil Mickelson. In my book, I know he's not better than Tiger, but Tiger wasn't there. I think it was Phil. But that's a controversial take, but we're not going to get into that. So Phil is number 1 right off the bat. Number 2, I have to go with Tom Brady. He's good. He's a GOAT. He's just in my head. He's like a role model to me. He's like my favorite athlete of all time. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Adam Sandler, which I think is a good pick. He's funny. He's Happy Gilmore. Like, what was going on? It's Happy Gilmore. Nothing to be said about that any more than that. Now that's it.
That's a
I'm gonna
good.
go with those. I'm gonna go with those three. I mean, I don't know how they would mix too well. I mean, Phil and Tom have played on what was that thing? The Match. So
Yeah.
they have good chemistry. But
and did they end up winning that?
Adam Sandler. Yeah, stop talking. Next. But yeah, I think that's a good foursome. So
Tino, you take it away.
All right. So for my foursome, I'm starting off with Marshawn Lynch. Now it's probably coming out of left field, but like I just think like that dude he's got some stories, man. And like when you're and granted, I've never been on a golf course. I've been on a golf course. I've never actually like played a round of golf, but mini golf, of course, but never actual golf. But like I just feel like if you're there, like you're probably throwing back a few beers or something, like having a good time. Like Marshawn Lynch, like he's got some stories, and you're probably chatting it up on the golf course, you know, and like as you're going to the next hole. Like Marshawn Lynch is going to have some stuff to talk about, so I'm going with him. I also think he's a fun guy to be around, the aura that he has. I'm going Marshawn. Second one, I'm going Michael Jordan, because I know that if you've watched The Last Dance, you know this guy would bet on anything and everything. And golf was a big thing for him. Like he would meet like him and opponents that he was facing off in the finals the day before. Him and like Clyde Drexler, whoever it was, they would go to the golf course and play a round of golf or a couple rounds of golf before the game the next day, put hella money on it. I just think MJ, like the shit talking that would ensue and the competitiveness, the competitive fire he would bring, I think that would be awesome to have MJ there. And then lastly, I'm going Bo Jackson, because this guy is great at like every other sport. He's great at baseball. He's great at football. I'd assume he's probably great at golf, and I just want to see what the dude's got, because again, he's proven how good he is at other sports. He's a multi-talented guy, and I want to see his repertoire when it comes to 18 holes, little golf course. So I say that's my foursome. Those three guys for sure.
Anthony.
All right, so the first I went with Bryson DeChambeau. The man's mind in golf is just crazy with all the numbers he knows, and I'm a big-time golfer, so I'd like to learn a lot from him. Second, I have Wayne Gretzky. No questions needed. Also, because his daughter, beautiful.
Anthony, tell us the story of when you actually met her.
Oh God,
you met Wayne Gretzky's daughter?
I've met her daughter. Met his daughter.
We love a good Paulina story.
So we. So was it just me and you, Ben, on the Thursday? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Were you there? Was it the Sunday?
You there, Owen?
No, I went on Sunday.
We saw her on the Sunday. We saw her and Brooks's daughter, or Brooks's wife.
Yeah, actually, it was on the 10th hole. Weirdly enough, I remember that.
So
who wouldn't remember that?
So that Thursday, I was extremely hungover. And we were just standing there, me and Ben, on a par 3, I don't know what number, at the Travelers in Connecticut. And right next to me was someone taking a picture with a lady, an old man. Me and Ben turned, and it was Paulina Gretzky. Every old dad took a picture with her because she's hot. That's the only reason why. They have no idea how great her father was. So I literally just looked at her, no pictures needed, and I said, I don't love you, I love your father.
You said that to her?
Yes, I did.
You did actually?
Yes, I did. I said, I do not like you. I love your father, and that's it.
I think she respected it more because before you were a bunch of husbands, like you said, who were saying, "Hey, honey," to their wives, "Can you take a picture of me and Pauline?" So I think she actually respected
I didn't need a picture at all. I just wanted to say that right to her face. And then
fair enough.
And then the third, I said Michael Jordan also for the same reason Tino said, with the gambling and just the competitive drive he has.
Yeah, 100%. Ben, what about you?
I'll round it out here. My first one, I'll take a real golfer. Give me Ricky Fowler.
I think great pick.
That's a great pick.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think he seems like, because all the force, like the full swing stuff, he seems like a good guy. But also, I kind of want to hear about like how does it feel to get chirps every single time you play? Like when we saw him at the Travelers, 3 years ago now, he wasn't even like a leader. He wasn't in contention. And on the Sunday, he was just getting chirped the whole time. Even if he's like making a chip on hole like 12 to get on and like in regulation. So I take Ricky and want to hear about that. Second pick, I'm picking Bobby Burger from Bob Does Sports. I feel like the vibes with that guy.
You said athletes.
He's an athlete.
He's an athlete.
He's an athlete. He's an
If,
athlete.
if I pick Pat Perez, then maybe there's a conversation. Or
No, he's more of an athlete.
Yeah. I'm picking
Fair.
Bob because the vibes are going to be high with that guy. I would love to have me and him in a cart, just chatting it up, downing
tequila.
We both absolutely shank a drive. And then the third one, this one, I would consider him an athlete too. Give me DJ Khaled.
Oh my!
Because
God.
I think
it's great.
How is he an athlete?
Oh, have you seen him golf?
He is a great golfer.
Yeah,
He is
you're
a great
right.
golfer.
Okay, fine. We'll let it slide.
He's a swimmer too. Have you seen that video?
I have not seen.
Can we insert that right here? Of him swimming?
Down there. Yep.
That video is incredible. But yeah, no, I think DJ Khaled, because let's go golfing, man. That's it. That's all I got. But yeah,
That's all you got?
I think we had some good ones. Yeah. I would, if anyone wants to vote, we'll actually put these on our social media, _mediocre men. We'll put a poll up. You can vote and see whose foursome was the best out of all of us. But yeah, we're gonna move on to a new segment. Every segment's new because it's a new show. It's called the Degenerate Bets of the Week. Now, in this segment, Anthony, who's weirdly slapping his fingers together, will be giving us some lines, and we're gonna have to pick the over or the under for this week, or if it's a prop bet, who we would take on that player or on that athlete, excuse me. And this week, I hear it's about UFC, so that's right up Owen's wheelhouse.
Yeah, so big time gambler here, unfortunately. Lose a lot of money. But this week with UFC 302, it's a big week. We got a lot of championships here. So with the first bet, I'm taking this bet right now. So we have Dustin Poirier over 460 against Islam Makhachev. Don't know who that is. Well, I know he is. Can't pronounce the last name. But Islam, he is right now the lightweight champion. And Dustin Poirier is over 460. So he's a huge underdog. So I'm going to be taking $50 on that bet to win $230. Count that because that's going to hit.
Fair. That's fair.
Second one, we have a parlay here with Alexander Romanov plus 230. Big underdog again, but he's 17-2. You know, I really like him, but he does not get enough attention. So hopefully he can shine. Second one, we got Kevin Holland at minus 290 and Sean Strickland at minus 230. Sean Strickland, one of my least favorite UFC fighters, but I'm going to take him this week. That parlay is going to be $25 to win $135. And then the last one is going to be, it's not a parlay because you can't parlay this, but I'm going to combine the two together. It's going to be Strickland's versus Costa plus 145 for under 2.5 rounds. It's a three round fight. So I'm going to take the under 2.5. And then the Islam versus Dustin Poirier at plus 275. I'm going to take that to go the distance. And then when you combine that, it's going to be $10 for $21 of profit. What do we think?
So
you guys aren't big UFC fans, right?
No.
Yeah,
I don't
know the names.
I don't even know what you're talking about the whole time. It all just went right through my head.
I knew Poirier, and then
like Ben says, we're mediocre in some things, and that's okay. It's okay to be mediocre. But Dustin Poirier, I did know, and I believe he fought Justin Gaethje rather recently. No, in the last year or so.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
You're right.
I remember watching that fight. And you're taking Dustin Poirier to win and it's going to go the distance. He's going to win.
Yep. So I'm doing that because he beat Justin Gaethje to get this title fight, because this is a big title fight right now, because this is probably the most competitive belt you can get. So I'm riding his high right now. I'm going to take him to beat Islam, who's only have one UFC loss.
I agree with you, though. I would go. The fact that he's that big of an underdog, I know, as you said, Israel's only lost one fight, but Dustin Poirier, I feel like coming off of that win against Gaethje, I would expect maybe the line to be more like a plus 350, like plus 4. It was plus 460, right? Plus 460. That's, to me, that's kind of disrespectful to Dustin Poirier. I think he's a much better fighter than the line is giving him credit for. So I am fully with you on that. I think Poirier is going to give him a hell of a fight and could go and go out and flat out win the thing. So I like that. And then with your other picks, I'll be honest. I think Sean Strickland, I do know who that is.
Mhm.
I don't really know much else about UFC, but Anthony, I watched what you did with the Quinnipiac game. You came to the men's basketball game. You bet on that one. I have confidence in whatever your picks are. Listen, they might be degenerate bets, but we're praying for you. You're gonna get the money this week.
Thank you. If all these hit, I think I'll make about just under $400. But I'm betting 75 to win 400. I'll take those odds.
Tino, you
Yeah,
know
that's not
what
bad.
happened at the Quinnipiac game, right?
Don't talk. We're not talking about the Quinnipiac game. We're not talking about
No.
the
But here's the thing. He lost, so he's due for a win. And I don't know how his betting.
That is called the law of averages. And if you took stats, that does not exist.
I don't know how his betting has gone since then, but I'm siding with my guy. Owen, are you siding? Come on, you're siding with Anthony, right?
No, he's not.
He looks like he's
I'm not gonna. Yeah, no.
No, he's not siding with me. He doesn't want to side with me.
Yeah, no.
Owen,
all right. Well,
you look like you're being held. Like, is everything okay over there? It's dark.
We should barely see your face.
No, we're good. I have Pop-Tarts. I got my water. I have the boys. What else can I ask for? To be honest with you,
not much, bro. I'll be honest. This is life right here.
So I'm not going to go with Anthony because I just do the opposite of what he says. So.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
$75 is down the drain.
Thank you. So you would say those $75 you would put it on all the opposites of everything Anthony chose?
Just to spite him, yes.
Do it.
I love the dramatic pause there.
Do it, Owens. We'll see who wins.
Yeah, Owen, you should place $75 on all the opposite picks that Anthony did, and we'll see who comes out on top. And we could run it in next week's show.
All right. Can you?
I don't know how to do that, but
can you what?
He can't. He's not 21, right?
Oh yeah, he can't even gamble yet.
Nerd.
God damn. All right, you know what? Okay, loser. We'll wait till he's 21, and then he'll be able to do it. But yeah, so I think it's time for our second break. Obviously, again, we have no commercials, not yet. Hopefully soon. But I'll take our second break of the night, and then we'll come in and get back to a few other topics before we close out the show.
Welcome back, everybody. So right now we're going to be shuffling on the shuffler. So Scotty Shuffler this past week was in a little bit of a hot water situation. Scotty was in a hottie situation. So last week, if some of you didn't know, it was the PGA Championship hosted by the Valhalla Golf Club. So I believe Anthony and Ben can correct me on this. I believe his tee time was at 8:40 or 9:10. I can't remember. This was a week and a half ago. But leading up to that, most golfers like to get to the clubhouse a little early so they can do their warm-ups, stretch, socialize. You know, they do what they do. They're professionals, so I don't question them. Leading up to that, I think it was around like 8 o'clock. I think this happened in the morning. There was a fatal accident that happened on the road leading up to the golf club, and Scotty Scheffler was in a little bit of a situation with a police officer. I can't remember I should know the details, and Ben and Anthony can fill in because we all know little bits and pieces. He had an incident with a police officer where I can't remember, and I think it was him receiving some misdirection, and he perceived it another way from what the cop actually said. The cop grabbed onto his car. One thing led to another, and he's in custody. He's warming up in jail, and then an hour and a half later, he's out on the golf course, starting off his round with a birdie. So, but leading up to that, he was charged with second-degree assault on a police officer and a third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, actually. So, Ben and Anthony, if you want to just fill in some stuff that I might have missed, but I think that's the gist of it. But
so
you want to fill in some stuff.
Most importantly about it, the charges has been dropped today, and I guess the main reason.
So as of today.
Yeah, they were mainly dropped today because the cop that I think was holding on to the car turned off his body cam, so there's no actual footage and like proof, I guess, about it. So I think that's the main reason why they actually dropped the case today.
Yeah, one thing to note about it was in that post round press conference that Scotty Scheffler gave. He was actually very respectful. It's a weird and difficult situation for him probably because I mean everyone like watches him. He's like a really good guy. I think we can all gather that from him. He seems pretty like he conveys himself with a lot of like pride, and he just overall is a good person for what he does. How he can inspire people, the words he gives after his rounds of golf. So I think for him it was a difficult and weird and like alienated situation for him because he just not that many people that are like that end up in situations like that. So
let me ask you guys. So Owen brought up and he talked about in the press conference. He like stretched in the prison cell.
Yeah.
So I think that was the thing I took from it. So they asked him like the reporters. I don't know if as a journalism major, I don't know if I agree with the questions they asked him. A lot of them didn't really ask anything about the incident. They just asked him like the fluff questions surrounding like how his morning was. I know he said he wasn't going to answer anything, but if you're writing a story on a guy going to jail before an event, I would at least like to know a few things of what he thought about his arrest and his takes on it. Even if he says, I can't talk about it right now, that's still a quote that you could use. That's beside the point. What I took from it was, him warming up in jail. He didn't have access to a phone, obviously. And so the only thing he could see was, I guess, a TV through his cell walls. And it was showing Sports Center of him getting arrested. And someone had the video of it pulled up. But like, as people who golf, like, would that affect you if you're going out for a round and you get arrested and then have to play 2 hours after you get out of jail? And I think the Valhalla president picked him up and drove him immediately there.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's the thing. If you're Scotty Scheffler, it ain't affecting you because Scotty Scheffler, I know we've all kind of talked about it. I think he's the best golfer in the world right now. I don't think there's any question about it. Like currently at this moment, best golfer in the world right now, no question about it. And the run that he's been on is like outstanding. So if you're Scotty Scheffler, you're like, oh, okay, I got arrested. Yeah, so what? It's like you go out and you do your thing. I think that's kind of his mindset. Maybe it would affect one of us, but Scotty Scheffler, no biggie.
Well,
can I bring up a point here before really quick? Is he the best golfer because he's the most talented, or is he just the best because everyone else sucks around him? Because who rivals him as number two? There's no one else that I would be like Justin Thomas has struggled a lot. Jordan Spieth has struggled a lot. Tony Finau's not in there. I think Sahith Theegala is a good name, but he's not around there. Rahm has not played a 72-hole tournament in what seems like months. Same with Brooks. Same with Dustin Johnson. Is he the best golfer because of the situation surrounding him? So I think there's no one. I think that's what it is. I don't think he's the best.
I will say I think he's still the best golfer just because of his talent. Because just bring the Masters into it, you have all the people from Live that comes back for that, and what happened? He wins still by what? 3 or 4 shots he ended up winning by.
But they're not playing full tournaments. They're playing 3-day tournaments where they get to walk around, listen to music.
Yeah, but they're still extremely.
They're still extremely talented. Like take Jon Rahm for example. Jon Rahm's still the second ranked golfer in the world.
No, it's no, it's not. It's oh my god, it's Wyndham. It's Wyndham Clark is number 2 in the FedEx Cups. They can't be ranked because they're not in the PGA. They can't get points. So they're ranked, but they're not actually up there.
No, that's the FedEx Cup. If you look up the world rankings, I'm pretty sure I could look it up real quick, but I think Jon Rahm is still the second.
I just don't think he looked good at the PGA. I know we're a week out from it. He made the cut and then was slowly moving up, but you could clearly tell there's a difference between Scotty Scheffler, who although had a kid 2 weeks before, is playing on the PGA every week, and Jon Rahm, because Jon Rahm was so streaky and it was birdie bogey like every other hole. I don't think I don't think if you put him against Tiger Woods and you put him in that era, there's no question he doesn't win. He wins like 2 events on the tour that year.
Well, that's Owen. Owen, what do you think about it?
So, my whole thing is, I've been over these past 2 years. I mean, golf has gotten so controversial in the past. Actually, no, what was it? 3 years ago? I can't remember. It's 2 or 3 years. Golf has gotten so controversial now that if you say you like anyone from Live, people don't count your take because they went from a highly the PGA is like the pinnacle of golf. Like we can all agree to that. It's like whatever every kid that grows up wants to play golf wants to play the PGA, and the only reason why Liv has the players they have is because they spent the money on the players, loads of money actually, like billions at this point. But it's I don't understand how a player like John Rahm can be ranked number one, moves to Liv, falls on the top 10. And then but Anthony says that he's still number two, but I think
He's
the
my
minute
bad.
that
He's number
happens,
7 now.
but that the first week that he went to Liv, he fell out of top 10.
Yeah.
Just because he moved to Liv. I don't know. I'm a huge Scotty Scheffler fan. I think the run he's on right now is incredible. It's second. I think it's second to Tiger Woods. I think you can't argue that. He's showing that really nothing can affect him on and off the golf course. I mean, if you look at the Masters, the guy had. I mean, this past week, obviously, he had a lot going on outside of the whole golf thing. But I mean, leading up to that, the guy had his first kid. So going into the Masters, he didn't know. I mean, I knew that was we all know that was like a headline that kept being brought up. Basically, like, oh, Scotty Scheffler doesn't know when his child's going to be born, so he's ready to leave the course at any moment. So I think he's had a lot of outside pressure mentally, but I think he's been able to overcome that, and he's just shown that he can win when he needs to win. I think last weekend at Valhalla, it was a tough situation for him, so he didn't play the best he could have played. But I think he's on a run right now that's pretty hard to beat.
So Tino, when you said that you don't think going to jail affected him, I think the opposite. I think it definitely affected him because the day when he got arrested and came out, I think he shot like 4 or 5 under, and I think that was just all adrenaline because the third day he went out, he shot like +3, +4. So I think that the mental really kind of affected him going to jail because also this week, he did really good. He was -10 going to the last day, second place, and then he shot like 2 or 3 over par. So I think all the stuff outside of golf is really starting to affect him right now. But
He's still winning.
He hasn't. What do you mean?
He hasn't won in like 3 or
He
4
hasn't
weeks.
won 3 weeks.
He hasn't won since the Masters,
wow.
right?
No, he won the week
shit.
after the Masters.
I was gonna say, the week after the Masters he won.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I mean, it's been 2 weeks since he won, and I know you're not going to win every week, but I just think that going the third day in the PGA Championship, shot 3 over. The last day to try to win another tournament, shot +3. So I think everything outside of golf is kind of mentally exhausting him. But hopefully, with this court case getting dismissed, that he'll go back to normal because he's a very exciting golfer to watch and the best right now.
You could put it behind him and hopefully move in a more positive direction.
Yeah.
But last thing, I know we're moving over to NBA stuff now because the NBA media rights deal has been a whole back and forth hullabaloo crazy thing that we've been covering. Not we've been covering, but that sports media has been covering for about like maybe a month now. And at this point, the NBA is formalizing a written contract with Disney, NBC, and Amazon, with sources calling it the final stage of media rights negotiations that may inevitably lead to Warner Bros. Discovery, TNT, taking legal action because they want to try to keep the media rights. But yeah, the TNT is probably going to be out most likely. They're still going to have the 2024-2025 season, playoffs, regular season, all that. But starting in the 2025-2026 season, TNT is going to be done, which would inevitably mean inside the NBA on TNT, Chuck, Shaq, Kenny the Jet Smith, and EJ, Ernie, they're all going to be doing – I don't know what they'll be doing, if they'll be moving into maybe NBC or Amazon, doing stuff with them. I don't know how it's all going to work. But regardless, the fact that a show since 1989, a staple of the NBA, this game of basketball, a show that had Magic Johnson on it through a period of time in the 90s. Again, this iconic foursome. We already did the golf foursome: Shaq, Chuck, Kenny, and EJ. It's like I can't imagine basketball without them. Like they've just been such a staple for so long, ever since I started watching the NBA. So I mean, just your guys' thoughts on the fact that inside the NBA is no longer going to exist in 2 years' time. Ben, you can go first.
I think, and I saw this on, I don't know who was interviewing Chuck the other day, but I genuinely think what should be done is that the 4 of them should go to Charles Barkley's production brand. He should create inside the NBA. He should take the whole studio because it seems like they all really like working with the crew behind the scenes as well. So I
Yeah.
think Chuck should create that as a show and then sell it to NBC. So while it's on a different network, they still have
still
the
getting-
exact same show. And if you sell it to NBC, or if you not even sell it, I think there would be some deal where they can put it on their airwaves, but Chuck's company gets total control of what goes on, apart from like, obviously, like there's some things you can't get total control over. But if you said, hey, you can put this on your airwaves, we just want to control how it's run so it's the exact same as we had it, that's what they should do. They're not going to do that. They're going to hire a bunch of random people. Like Tino said, Draymond's going to probably go on. I think that's going
to be a good one.
Yeah,
It's probably going to happen because he's been getting groomed, as you'd say, on inside the NBA. He has his own podcast now. Like, I just feel like even though he still is playing, he's going to make appearances no matter what. I could see Vince Carter being another one too, because Vince Carter's made appearances on Inside the NBA. He could be another, maybe Jamal Crawford. Like, those are guys that, like, former players that I could see moving over to either NBC or Amazon or, you know, whatever network they're going to be on.
I think Chris Paul definitely could too, because he's right now is on TNT.
He's been. Or no, I think ESPN he was on, right? With Stephen A.
Okay. Yeah. But I kind of liked him. He was pretty good at what he was doing.
Yeah, Chris, he wasn't bad. I think also, I mean, obviously, the thing is, Chris Paul can end up staying on ESPN because that'll obviously be part of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I just think it's sad though the fact that we, like, as of right now, because there's no confirmation of that. Like the rumors and the reports right now is that Inside the NBA is done. Like, it's not going to be a thing anymore. And, like, just from all those iconic segments of, like, Gone Fishing when a team gets knocked out of the playoffs and they do the whole, like, joke bit where they got a bunch of guys going to Cancun when they play who he play for and Chuck's trying to guess what player. It's like just like those four guys, the chemistry they have, just the camaraderie and their ability to go back and forth, Chuck and Shaq insulting the fuck out of each other, screaming at each other from across the desk. Like, I don't know. I'm just going to miss it if it in fact is done. I think it's a good thing for the NBA, though, because now this is going to mean big money going forward with this new media rights deal, because ESPN is going to be paying almost $3 billion annually. And
what are they going to do with that money, though?
That's the question. I can't say. I'm not Adam Silver. I'm not the NBA, so I don't know. But the fact that they're getting a new NBA media rights deal could mean more, even larger max contracts for players going forward. It could mean it's probably going to bode well for the NBA, because I think the NBA does a good job of being able to utilize and allocate their money properly compared to other leagues. So I just think overall, while it sucks for TNT and it sucks for the four of them, it's the right move for the NBA. You got to follow the money. You got to go with what's going to allow you to continue to rake cash in and continue to brand yourselves in the right way. And this is what that does for them.
They could also put all of them on League Pass, which would be really interesting. If you're the NBA and you have to pay to watch them, but then I think runs the issue of now it's not TNT where it's an outside media conglomerate. It's the NBA where it's more PR than actual show. So I don't think they'd be able to do a lot of the stuff they normally do. And I think that'd be a little more like flowery with the language, how it's on the show. But that would be, I think someone should just hire the whole crew and they should just put it somewhere. And I think that's
I agree with you.
the most likely outcome of what should happen.
Because I think it's a great show, and you ask anybody that like is an NBA fan and watches NBA games like consistently, they love you. You can't really find somebody that hates the show, because even if I've had friends that are just like, oh, Charles Barkley, Shaq, I can't stand when they yell at them. You're still watching though because you want to see what dumb shit they're going to say next. That's the point of it, is that show is just, it's so iconic and it's so indicative of what the NBA, especially during playoff time. Like, I can't really imagine the NBA without it. I'm glad we're still getting at least one more year, possibly more, knock on wood, depending on what happens. But I think that I just hope and pray that somehow the four of them can stay within the media. They're going to stay within the media, but stay doing a show like that and be able to still show up on our airwaves in some capacity, because I will 100% be watching them if they're able to stay in that frame. And now, last thing we're going to get to, Owen, we added this in late. So it turns out you had a little rant you wanted to go on. Yeah, so we're going to be doing Owen's rant of the week every single week, every episode. So, Owen, I'm going to put you on the solo screen. It's going to be you. Give us your rant of the week.
Okay. So, I don't know what it is. These past, since I was 13, you would go to Chipotle and you would ask for a burrito or a bowl, either or, and they would load that puppy up. They would not skimp out on the portions. Now, all you see on TikTok, on Instagram now is what's going on with Chipotle. What's going on with Chipotle? I'm in the same boat. What's going on with Chipotle? Like, what is it? I am a D1 hater, and I can't hate them, but they're starting to get on that list, that my hate list, and I don't want to say that because, when they get good, they're good. They're might I say, they're a top 5 food chain of all time. They might be number 1 on my list, which is not. So yeah, exactly. It's a hot take, but if they don't pick up the pace, if they don't stop what they're doing, they're out. Like, they're out. I'm done. I'm done with going to Chipotle where you used to get like a burrito and fit in both of your hands, like a big burrito. You go there now, it's like that big. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I could go to Moe's, spend less money.
I think we lost him.
Oh my God, we lost him mid Chipotle rant.
And
He was
man.
gonna say you could get free chips at Moe's. That is
that's exactly what
that-
he was gonna say.
That is what he was going to say.
All right,
I
hold
think
on. Hold on. What's better, Chipotle, Moe's, or Baja's?
Chipotle.
You can't say Baja's. He's never
Are
been
we
to Baja's.
back?
Oh no, you
We're
have.
back.
You have been to Baja's.
I have been to Baja's.
I
It's Chipotle.
think Baja's
Wow.
is the
Are we back?
best. Oh, you're back.
Put him
There's
on the
Owen.
ISO
We got
cam.
him.
Put him on the ISO
Owen,
cam.
Can you?
Owen, on the
Let him
ISO
keep
cam.
going.
Oh no!
What
Owen, you're on the ISO.
Did you
What
drop
happened?
it?
He
You
froze
were
again.
underwater?
He froze again.
Oh God.
We're
All right,
mediocre.
we're gonna try to.
We're mediocre.
It's just it's in the title, guys. You should expect this coming into watch. No, Chipotle is the best one. I agree
Nah,
with him that they've
Baja's.
been. No, I agree with Owen. They've been shit in the bed lately, but we might have lost the Chipotle sponsorship here. Just as a heads up.
Oh
but
no, that's right.
I think that genuinely though, I think that Chipotle, the food is the best. Oh my God, is he back on a second? We have 2 Owens.
Back.
Put him on the ISO. Put him on
Put
the
him on
ISO.
the-
We're
Give it
so
to him.
back. They tried getting me off of this so I could stop saying stuff. They can't cancel me. They can't get rid of me. I'm here to talk about their atrocities. It's honestly atrocities.
Owen, I have a
It's
question
sad.
for you. I have a question for you,
go?
Owen. Would
Please
you
go.
take them as
Yeah.
would you take him as a sponsor though?
Gladly. Anything.
He goes gladly. No
Chipotle.
hesitation
Chipotle.
there on that.
But I think everyone here can agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I love
Definitely.
Chipotle.
2012.
I got it today for lunch.
It's sad. It's like it
It's a
feels like
problem.
the end of an era. It feels like the end of an era that shouldn't be the end of an era. And honestly, people are being born every year. You have a new demographic every year. We should be going on the up and up. Like our trajectory should go like that.
Instead,
So-
we're going.
We're going down.
Yeah.
We're plummeting. We're
Yeah,
beyond
it's
plummeting.
I haven't had a single problem with Chipotle recently.
Nope. Last time
I-
we went, you
No,
complained.
it was just too wet. It was too
That's
wet.
still a complaint, though. No.
No.
It was
if
too
we're
wet.
going on- If we're going on just portion sizes, my portions are
Okay,
fine. It was
true.
just
It was too
Well,
wet.
you know
What do
what
you mean it was
we
too
do?
wet?
no. It was the brown
It
rice.
was.
They didn't. It was the brown rice what got me, and it seemed like they cooked a pot of rice and they put a little too much water in there, and then didn't let it
Okay.
like sit and like steam, so it just got a
Now,
little
do you
wet
get-
around it. So
Did you hear the
Yeah.
new trend
Do you
that
get-
people are doing though?
what? The
Do
phone?
you get beans?
Yeah, the phone thing. So
No, it works. It fully. I did
yeah,
it the other
yeah.
day. It
So
fully
I
works.
went to Chipotle on Saturday, and if you walk in there and show your phone pretending you're filming, their managers told them to actually put big normal portions in it, and it actually works.
I got to try that, bro.
Yeah, it actually
You can't
works.
mobile order then though.
Yeah, you can't mobile order. You have
It's-
to actually go inside and do it.
I usually
Oh,
go
mobile-
inside and do it anyway, so I'll
Yeah.
do that.
Mobile ordering is even worse.
Oh,
If you're not-
100%.
if you're not there watching them, they'll put a quarter of the portions. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Oh,
I
let me
didn't
ask
know.
you.
Owen, I don't know what they're doing.
Well, if someone gives you a $5 gift card to Chipotle right now, would you go and get food there?
I can't even buy anything for $5. Their chip bag is like $3.99.
But would you
Whatever, I
still go? Would you go and get a bowl if someone gave you $5 for it?
If the bowl was $5, obviously.
No. If it's a normal price bowl and you get a discount on it, would you go to Chipotle?
Yes, I said.
There we go. So you're still gonna go there.
We're still gonna go, but he's allowed to rant. I'm still gonna go, but I agree with him.
No. If you are gonna do something and you're gonna complain about it the whole time, there's a simple solution. Just
don't go.
No,
Okay,
it's not possible.
Here's what I have to say. Okay, yeah. Can I talk? Thanks, Ben. So I go there, and then you ask they have the audacity to say, "Do you want double chicken?" And I'm like, just give me the normal portion. I don't have to ask for double because your double is still less than a full portion. So give me the full portion.
What do you actually say? Because that's what you say in your head. What do you actually say to them?
So,
yes,
no, thank you.
So, don't call me out. So I go there and I'm like, yeah, can I get a burrito, brown rice, double chicken? Because if you don't ask for double chicken, they give you literally one thing of chicken. I don't get any beans because you want to know why? Because they'll be scooping the bean juice and then putting it in your burrito. No one wants that. No, I don't even like beans also. But that's just my rant. You know, I'll still go. I'll still support them. But they need to pick up the slack or do what they need to do. They have to just listen to their consumers. What?
I'm asking one more question because I'm very interested. When you order double chicken, you definitely go. They go meat and you go, I'll get double chicken. You don't say I'll get chicken and then you say actually can I get double? You just say right off the bat you want double, right?
Because if we don't say double, they're not going to give you a normal. They're going to give you
no. If you say double chicken right off the bat, they are going to give you less because they know they have to scoop it twice. So let them scoop it once and then say actually I'll get double, and then they have to give you a bigger scoop.
There's a hack, Owen. We got a hack now.
I'm telling you, the phone. Use the phone. It works.
I'm gonna try. No, I'm gonna try it next time, and I'll come back and I'll give my review on it.
Can you vlog it? Can you actually record it? Like vlog it, and we'll put it up on the Instagram.
100%. Yeah, I'll go do it.
There we go.
I'll go. I'll get it tomorrow for lunch after my Pilates class. I'll go do it.
Pilates.
Pilates. Wait. You're telling us at the end of this recording that you were going
Pilates
to Pilates class tomorrow.
It's a beginner class. I'm trying it out. I'm just seeing what it's like. You know, my mom does it. I've never done it before. It's my first class.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying it out. Yeah, so I'm trying it out, and maybe I'll take some video of that class too, like a day in the life of a Pilates class.
I don't think they want to see that. I don't think they want to see that.
Definitely not. But I think this was a good way to end off the first episode. Little Chipotle rant. I'm gonna get the video tomorrow. See if we get the full portion. It's gonna be a good investigative journey for us.
What are you gonna wear to Pilates? Like, what do you wear to Pilates? I guess is my question.
I've never been to Pilates. We're gonna find out tomorrow, Ben.
Well, no, you have to prepare an outfit. You can't just show up naked and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put these shorts on."
Well, no, I'm gonna prepare tomorrow. It's a 1:00 class.
I don't know. Some of us wake up at 1.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. How about this? I'll send a photo in the group chat of my fit tomorrow. We'll do a fit check.
Owen can't wait. He's beaming with excitement.
Beaming with excitement, of course.
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this mediocre podcast. I think it picked up as we went through. So not too shabby for the first one.
Definitely mediocre.
Yeah. It's a new experience for some of us. So, getting up here and talking to all of you lovely people might be hard for guys like Anthony and I because we're not used to it.
Do that.
Well, you can follow us on all social media platforms. We're on YouTube at The Mediocre Men and Instagram and Twitter at _Mediocre Men.
And TikTok.
TikTok will be coming. It'll probably be out by now. Spotify, yep. If you're listening on Spotify, we thank you. You can also head over to the YouTube for some extra YouTube content that will also be coming soon, including Kino's trip to Chipotle tomorrow, which will be very exciting. But new podcasts will be dropping every week. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the rebranded Mediocre Men. We've been your men. Have a good night.